Hey there, Facebook. Okay, so I'm telling myself that I'm going to be doing some more lives, and I thought I would try to use some of these funky little masks and things like that, just for fun. So I'm just going to jump on here really quickly. I'm going to podcast, Ladies Out Loud. So Carrie and I are going to be talking today about cleaning up our act. And Carrie has been on this amazing trip just of learning all these different ways to be healthier. She's had some health challenges over the last few years, and so she is just becoming this guru of all this information. And I know she thinks that she's not, but seriously, she is just posting a ton of stuff, and it's going to be so awesome because we're going to be sharing this with you. It's going to be our summer series on Ladies Out Loud, is all about cleaning up our act when it comes to food, when it comes to products in your house. And so today specifically, we're going to talk about digestive issues and tummy issues, and how to keep your colon rolling, how to when to know to go to the doctor. We both were diagnosed with SIBO last year, and so kind of what that has brought, that new information and things we've had to change, and the frustration of having to learn a whole new diet and everything all over again, even especially for me, because I've eaten really well since I was in my 20s. So I know, I look like I'm still in my 20s. I know, that was so nice. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be spending a little time talking about, we'll do a quick live before we jump on our podcast, but there's some really awesome things happening. We're looking to start what's called the Ladies Out Loud Network, which is awesome. We are actually going to be looking for potential female podcasters. So if you know somebody who has a business they want to promote, they have a great mission or a passion, and it's female driven, that is what we're going to be looking for, to put underneath this Ladies Out Loud Network. And we want women to feel inspired. I know, Marley, this does not happen a lot. This right here, look at the hair is done. I got earrings on. I actually have makeup on, see? Yeah, sometimes when I actually go do the podcast, I actually put makeup on. So I thought today is the day that you guys get it. And this will be lasting for, until probably Friday. And then maybe I'll do my hair again. So, but yeah, it's really interesting, this network that we're doing and putting together. So I'm actually starting to meet with some women that are interested in having a podcast, and again, having a mission, having a vision, people that want to inspire women, people that yeah, you too, Marley, people that want to help women find their voice, how to live out loud, how to live with courageous vulnerability. And so much of that, you can hear my Pomeranian in the back, her and my Chihuahua, and hey, they're digging in my backyard. Reese, no. So all my dogs, I'm going to digress for a minute. All my dogs are named after candy. So I have Sprinkles, right? Yep, that's you. I have Snickers, who's in the house probably sleeping because she's like, dude, I just want to sleep all the time. And then there's Reese. And so Reese and Sprinkles are just young, and so they run around the backyard and bark at each other. Hi, honey, I'll be seeing you soon. Hey, Tansie's gonna come with me too, so she can be part of our podcast because she's got tummy issues too. I was just sharing with them about the Ladies Out Loud Network and how we're looking for women who are potential podcasters, and then we're also going to be looking for sponsors. So people who are really interested in supporting women's podcasts. There's been a 14% increase, I don't know if you know this, in monthly listeners, and it is based on the polls of the research, it's women that are listening to these podcasts. And a third of Americans are listening to podcasts nowadays, so getting sponsors who we can support their businesses by promoting, their products and things like that are you're going to have a lot more of a personal touch on a podcast versus a happenstance on a radio show, that maybe you'll get heard and you spend a lot more money getting on that radio show. So yeah, we're really excited, and I'm going to share a little bit more about that with you. But if you guys know any potential podcasters, definitely send them my way. I'm just working on, a little media kit to send so that they can have a little bit of an understanding of what this looks like. And they're going to get an amazing, it's going to be so much more cost effective, like a great discount to be in Frito Nation Productions. And here's the great thing. You don't have to live in Texas. You can actually record your raw footage and send it, and Frito will professionally put it together, edit it, get you on all the major podcasts. So it's going to be really cool. I'll talk about it more later. And but there was something when I was thinking about women today. I was in the shower. I do my greatest thinking like in the shower on the pot, right? Like I think we all do. I'm like, I'm so inspired. I wish I could be talking right now to people. But one thing I was thinking of is how my dog is digging, and I need to get her. Hey, no, come here. She's so bad. Like my dogs. Yeah, go in the house. Now they're full of dirt. That's awesome. All right. So anyway, but one of the things I was thinking of is, yes, you get creative in the shower. I do. I feel so inspired. Like I need a little camera or like a recorder so I could be like, bum, bum, bum. Like I like practice my speeches in there and everything. So I was listening to Brene Brown. She's like my affirmation guru. And I was really, I don't know, the last few months, I've just really been learning a lot about me and realizing how I've co-created some of my situation and and how I have to own that. And I'll tell you what, it's the most painful journey that I've been on, because it's hard. You go to counseling and you go, oh my gosh, I've had cancer, I've had all these things, and you have a counselor that's walking you through this. Began working with a life coach a few months ago, and you really start to realize the stuff in your life that you've allowed for years and how much you are a co-creator of that. And when you have to own that, it is like emotionally cuts your legs out from underneath you. And so I feel like I've gone through this really painful emotional journey the last few months, to the point where like I really don't want to do lives, and I don't even want to do social media sometimes. Like I want to hide under the blankets, like, oh, I'm just going to lay here all day and just like, oh, because it's just such a yucky feeling. And then you realize that like, all right, I have to change this. It's not up to somebody else to be different for me. Like I have to choose to work on my own thinking and my own responses in order to create the life that I want. And so Brene Brown has been just one of my affirmation gurus. She's such an amazing woman. And I think the biggest thing I love about her is that she's got the research behind it, right? Like who studies shame? Like people don't do that. So one of the things she talked about though is that in the research, the opposite of fitting in is a sense of belonging. And I had to rewind it, and I had to listen to that a couple times and let it marinate in my brain, because she talked about how most of us, and women, we are comparison junkies. I mean, we know it. We compare all the time. And we also try to figure out the way to fit in, right? So years ago, in the 50s, it was look like Marilyn Monroe, who was like a size, 12, 14, I think I've read. And look that way, like that was acceptable. And then it was, back, I think in the 70s, it was Twiggy. I remember my mom used to talk about this, Twiggy, was it, right? To be really, really thin. And then in the 80s, it was like, how high is your hair? And all of that stuff. And I think we're such comparison junkies, and we look for ways as women to fit in to whatever situation we're in and become chameleons. And Brene Brown talked about the fact that that is the exact opposite of belonging. When we belong to ourselves and we know who we are, we're able to then live the life that we want and create the life that we want. And so, I think that's really empowering as I'm creating this network, and I'm kind of trying to sit back and understand what is my vision for this, and what do women want to do as a collective, and create, what kind of culture do we want to create? Even if we have different podcasts with different messages, we're going to hit different people. But the fact is, when we belong to ourselves and know who we are as women, we don't try to fit into somebody else's box and say, oh, okay, like if I wear this, or if I look like this, or if I use these words, if I try to be like, Rachel Hollis, or if I try to be like Oprah or whatever, and if I try to be like this, then people will follow me. And I think to myself, no, that's not it. All of the brave women that have come before us, whether it was Rosa Parks or Harriet Tubman, or even in the movies that we watch right now, I've been, drowning myself in Game of Thrones and The Handmaid's Tale. And when you watch those movies, June from Handmaid's Tale, or Daenerys from Game of Thrones, or even let's just take like a man like William Wallace from Braveheart, one of my favorite movies. They lived courageously, and they were vulnerable, and the fear they experienced, they didn't fight it. They didn't resist the fear. They listened to its story. They embraced what their fear was telling them so that they were able to be brave. And I think it is super brave when we're able to listen to our own stories, our own fears, our own anger, our own sadness. As I have listened more to myself in those spaces, rather than shushing it down, pushing it down, resisting it, fighting against it, I am belonging to myself more than ever, and not trying to fit into some box that the world is telling me I need to be in. And I just want that for women in the next generation, for our young girls, for those that still have not found their way and they're still comparison junkies, or they're still trying to fit into what the world tells us we need to be. So I am excited for what's going to come with this network, and I would love women who have a message, who have a passion, who have a business, they want to be a part of this. Please contact me. Let's have a conversation. I mean, it starts with a conversation. Even if it's not the right time right now, it may be at some point for you. So I put together a media kit. Drop me a message or private message me and give me your email, and I will send it your way. I'm really, really looking forward to what's going to come of this. Later on, you're going to see Carrie and I and my friend Tansy will do a quick live, talk a little bit about Cleaning Up Our Act, our summer series from the Ladies Out Loud, and sharing with you today all about those dreaded digestive issues that most of us ladies struggle with. So what is it that you guys experience? Like, what are your problems, your health issues that you have related to your digestive system, and how do you keep that colon rolling? Like, what are the things, what are the tips and tricks that you've tried? Is it increasing your fiber? Are you vegan? Have you done supplements? What are the things that you've done? Let's talk about it. Let's have a real conversation, about the poop emoji. I mean, it's important to talk about these things. It's funny because as a nutrition coach, I'm so comfortable talking about this. Plus the fact that I had colorectal cancer and have a permanent colostomy, so literally I'm just like, I'm really acquainted with the poop emoji way too often. And, but it's made me comfortable, and we need to talk about this, guys. I mean, I am almost 45 years old, and I did hear that they've dropped the age that health insurance will cover for colonoscopies, because it used to be 50. But the problem is, I think it needs to be in the 30s. I mean, there's so many people today that are struggling with digestive health. and it's in their 30s. I have so many friends right now with so many problems, and our soil is tainted. We know this. We know that our foods have been pumped full of antibiotics, and we need to have more conversations. If you guys don't know who Dr. Zach Bush is, he's great. Farmer's Footprint. You can find it on Facebook. He talks a lot about what's going on in our soil. It's not just about, I need to eat healthy. I need to eat fruits and vegetables. It's so much more than that. Some of us have viruses and bacterias and things. Pooping is so important, yes. And if you're not doing it, I was constipated for years. I had all kinds of issues, and I ate healthy. And knowing that now I had SIBO, which 80% of people who were diagnosed with IBS in the 90s. That's when I was told. I went to the ER 3 different times. Nobody ever knew what was wrong with me. They would be like, oh, just eat more fiber, eat more broccoli, eat more this, take some Miralax, Metamucil. And I did all of that stuff. Oh my gosh, Carrie, I didn't even know that. They found a huge polyp. What would have happened if it stayed there for another 10 years? Exactly. I mean, because that was me. So my story is just that. I was just 30, and after Tristan, the doctor thought I had an internal hemorrhoid. That went on for 10 years. So literally from 30 until 40, the polyp, the little tiny baby polyp she thought was a hemorrhoid, grew into a tumor. And here's the bittersweet thing. It was low enough that it was caught, and I was bleeding, and I was like, this is so, like, something's going on. Wasn't high enough to attach me. So I ended up with a permanent colostomy, which alters your life. I'm a fitness person. I ran all the time. I was healthy. I love being in a bathing suit, love being at the beach. And it is a struggle for me. It has been like, I have not fully embraced that part of me yet, to be able to want to be rocking a bikini and to do that, because I have to deal with this, literally a bag in front of my body, because nobody thought I was so healthy. Nobody thought to send me to a colorectal specialist and have it looked at. And I had managed my diet fairly well. I still had some inflammatory issues, but I had things under control as best as I could. So yeah, nobody knew. So Carrie, I am so sorry. Gosh, my fat stuff. You're so, stop that. You're hilarious. Gosh, that's crazy. But yeah, I really what are the problems that you guys are having, with your digestive health, and what are the things you've done to fix it? Let's start having more of these conversations. So that's what we're going to talk about in our summer series, Cleaning Up My Act. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Toxic chemicals. We did that last time. We're going to continue with that. We're going to talk about mold in our household. We're going to talk about the foods that we're eating and ways that we can continue to clean up our act. And all of us can do this. All of us can start making small, subtle changes. You don't have to go out and throw out every cleaner, every face cleanser, throw out all your food or anything like that. I'm a big believer in taking one step at a time. All my clients know this. Most people don't go cold turkey, and most people aren't able to go all or nothing. It really, really is all or something. I mean, I hear my friend Marzia say that all the time. She says it's all or something. And it's true, because most of us have lives that are busy. And we have kids that we're raising. And so to go, okay, I'm just going to get rid of everything and start all over, or you've never eaten vegetables in your life and now you're deciding I'm going to get healthy, you're going to start that, you're going to do it for a week, and then you're going to stop. So a little bit at a time. And so we want to provide you with those tools, and we want to encourage you guys to just start looking, being aware, stop being ignorant, stop choosing to look the other way, and really start looking at the products you're using, the foods that you're eating, not just for you, but for your family. I mean, I'm in my 40s. I have 3 or 4 friends right now with autoimmune issues, and my husband, who's in his early 50s, who's been super sick for the last 4 years. There is something wrong with this. We have to start being aware, because we can't wait for somebody else to fix our health. We need to do it ourselves. Oh my gosh, Carrie, you in your bikini. Someday you'll be owning your body again.